So when you talk to doctors about having you in their practice, and respectfully I say that, couldn't a dentist argue, yeah, the same day smile concept, he cannot compete. Eddie Corrales cannot, as good as he can't compete with the high-end lab I use that's in Beverly Hills or wherever.
Right.
What's your response to that? And does that come up?
It does come up, and it's totally understandable. But I'll tell you this, I also have a dental laboratory. And the way that it works in the laboratory is that we have 4 or 5 smiles lined up that we need to work on. And it goes through let's say, different benches for different technicians to work with. One that does one step, the other one does the other step. So we have to focus on different patients at the same time. When I do it same day, I'm focusing on one patient, and that is my patient. That's all I work is in that patient. I don't have to work on 4 different patients just to get work out of the laboratory, because there's a lot of bills that I have to pay in the laboratory. When I work at the dental office, I only focus on that patient. That is my only goal.
But the question is, can you compete when you know, with these high-end labs?
I sure
or
can.
Or so-called high-end labs.
I sure can.
Do your teeth look as good?
Yes, I can.
In the same
My
day?
ability, because of the time that I have to do my case, my smile, it's the same amount of time that it would take in my laboratory if I sat with only one smile in my laboratory. I only put the time on that smile. And the laboratory is not realistic because I need to run a business and I have to get more work to flow in there. So I can't focus on just one smile. If I did, yes, it would look as beautiful. That's why for me, it's better to be in the dental office, working with that smile, that patient, so I don't have anything else in my mind. All I do is just that one smile. But there's one big advantage on this, Randy, that is the best of all. It's that I am the one that is seeing the patient. I'm working with the patient. I have it in front of me. So I can do a better job than anybody in the laboratory that doesn't have the patient.
That doesn't meet the patient.
They have that. Yes, they're beautiful work, and I've done it like this, but I have the patient in front of me. I have a conversation with the patient. This is real. I'm working with a real patient in there. So any technician in the world can agree with me that doing it with the patient in front of them is a lot easier to achieve a beautiful, natural result. Because when I'm right there, I can see the smile line, I can see the lip line, I can see their eyes, I can see the pupils, I can compare all the parallel lines and the perpendicular lines that belong to the face, going back to the term and the concept of visigism, that allows me to customize a smile to this patient. That is something that you're not gonna get in a laboratory, and I can get it 3-dimensionally right there with my patient.
So the way it works, and we're gonna take a quick break, you go in their office, you show up at about 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And when are you done?
I'm done about 2, 3 in the afternoon. The way it goes, we get the patient, I interview the patient about 8 o'clock in the morning just to see what the patient's expectations are, to make sure that I not only achieve the expectation, but also exceed them. That's always really important when we do something like this. So once we have that interview done, we can start with the process by 8 o'clock, 8:30. We finish that process of preparation with the patient 10 in the morning. The patient gets dismissed by 10:30 with temporaries, so they want to, that are removable. And they come back by 2 p.m., 2:30 p.m., depending on the amount of work that we need to do. At 2:30, we're trying the veneers in, and we give the patient a mirror so they can check and see if they love the work we've done.
And you work in the back on their CEREC machine.
I work in their machine. I do the diagnostic wax up. I do the treatment planning beforehand. I do all the imaging. I do the temporization. I do all the designing, milling, stain, glaze, cut back and layered, and I also help them try in the work. One of the biggest advantages is that the more beautiful the smile I make for this doctor, the better the word of mouth. The better the service, the better the experience of the patient in that chair, in that office, the better the word of mouth for this doctor, for this dental office. So it's a great marketing tool.
Now, I did the numbers too. You know, we talked about the numbers.
Yes.
And it's almost less expensive to have you do it. Yeah. And that's the part I didn't get.
Correct.
Than it would be to send to the so-called high-end lab or even a low-end lab.
Yeah.
It's still less to have you go to them.
Yes. You know, the cost, it could vary among dentists. But to have me over, it should not cost any more than if you send it to a great dental laboratory, which by now we should send to a great laboratory to do a smile.
And the main thing, though, is, but also you get it done in the same day. Because people get cold feet during the process, they're waiting.
That is number one. To be able to do it in one day is what people want nowadays. We don't have time to leave work twice. We don't want to go to the dental office twice. If we can get it done all in one day, that is the way we want to work. That's why
So you're not shortcutting anything. I mean, the same time that you spend in their office is the same time if somebody sends you like a lab guy anywhere.
It's the same time. This way, I only focus on that one patient, and I am that one patient's personal smile designer. And those patients love those words.
Because you work with a lot of well-known guys, right?
Yes, yes.
But you also work with just regular guys.
I work with everybody. I work with everybody. And one of the greatest points of this, I guess, job that I created for myself as a smile designer on site is that I carry most of the work. I carry most of the treatment planning, and I carry most of the pressure. So I make the dentist's life very easy. I eliminate their stress factor. There's no stress when I'm in the dental office. I eliminate that right away. Why? Because I help them with the right tools how to prepare the case ahead of time. I do all the conversation with the patient so they know what to expect from the artist. And I also finish the entire design and case right there. They don't have to do anything. All really I want them to do is to enjoy their day, give me a great canvas to work with, and do a good job cementing. That's all they need to do.
Now, are there a lot of CEREC masters, dentists that are really good at it, right?
Yeah.
So for them, they could say, well, yeah, but I do a good job doing it myself, right?
Sure. There's plenty. There's plenty of education for a dentist to go through and learn how to make their own smiles. I'll tell you what the problem is with that. And it's very basic. That problem is that they are running everything themselves. It's too much work for the doctor to do. Not only
so
the
it takes
treatment
them like what? How many hours?
It takes them all day. If they can do it all day. I think it's a loss of money. 8-10 teeth will take them until 5 p.m. because they have to do all the work themselves. They have to do all the preparation. They have to do all the designing, all the temporization. They have to do all the milling, staining glaze, contouring, which is the hardest part of it all. Is
that common? They're doing this across the country?
Some are doing it. And I tell you, they don't look that good. They don't look that natural. And it's not because they're bad at it. It's because I do it every day of my life. Practice makes perfect.
So it's more expensive that way because the doctor's time is worth money. They have to be away from patients or doing it at night.
And the stress factor is what kills them.
Okay.
It's a lot of stress to do all that when you don't have the practice. See, I'm a dental technician by trade. So I know every single step that's going to happen before I even step a foot in that office. I already have a protocol here. The doctor is always trying to get something going, with all due respect.
Now, you told me that there's about 300 CEREC machines in San Diego, and they're being underutilized, or they're only being used for crowns or something like that.
Correct.
Not the big money stuff.
Right.
Elaborate on that.
And 300 owners in San Diego is probably a small number. I will probably say about 500 owners, but let's leave it at 300. I know, because I'm also an instructor, a certified instructor worldwide on this technology, the machine is underutilized because the machine was created to make molars, single restorations, maybe a quadrant, now maybe a 3-unit bridge and implant. It's not made for making smiles because of the time consumption of making
in the
a whole
aesthetic
smile.
zone.
In the aesthetic zone, you got to have a
because I hear that, by the way. I have guys that say, Randy, CEREC, no, there's no way. I send them out.
Right.
It's not there, they'll tell me.
When it comes to doing molars, inlays, onlays, posterior teeth, single restorations, CEREC is number one. It's beautiful. You can make a restoration look very, very natural, as if I was doing it in the dental laboratory. Okay. When it comes to doing more work, when it comes to doing larger cases, it's where doctors are not using it because it's too time consuming. That means that they're losing money. They're losing because they're not using it for that. By having someone like me in the dental office, an on-site dental technician that is certified with this technology, they can produce so much more money by doing a smile in a day. I use the machine only 2 hours of the day when I'm there. So the other 6 hours, they can use it themselves and make money on their own while I'm making the money in the back.